Okay, folks, thank you for being patient. I'm just going to get the winter lo-fi mix going in the background, and it says it's non-copyright, so Twitch, relax. I'm not playing stuff I should not be playing, and what have you. That's a point. I really need to make that window just disappear a moment. No, I didn't want that.
Sean.
I didn't want that one to disappear. That's weird. Hey, Sean. Friends, family members, and Mr. Rakaku. It is that time of year once more, where as the winter festivities approach, we gather, celebrate, and reminisce what can be argued as the triumphant return of the box office after the global difficulties of the last 2 years. We've seen some dark nights, sped through landscapes, and gone global with our old prehistoric pals from the Jurassic era, and we also went back to the danger zone.
Yep.
Hello, everyone, esteemed panelists and loyal viewers to the 12th consecutive end-of-year panel from Real Features. I'm MJ Knight, the voice of Nightwatch, the face of Real Features, co-creator of Raw Down Rebound, and the creator of Sunday Night Live. With me, making her sixth consecutive appearance, is the First Lady of Awesome, Madam President herself, Awesome Lydia.
And everybody.
Making only his third appearance is the esteemed Sir Stephen.
Greetings, everybody.
And returning once more to the end-of-year panel, the suave Cyber Raiden.
Yo.
I was expecting a little bit more than that, but never mind.
Oh, hey, I got you. How's it going, everybody? It's been a good year of movies. A lot of it good, a lot of it mid, but that's what you got us here, just to give our take on it.
Yep.
Enjoy.
And up for first serving, the Batman.
Yes, sir.
Dark, brooding, moody, raw. And I'm not talking about only Rikaku when he wakes up first thing in the morning after watching AEW.
Oh boy.
This take on the Dark Knight is probably the most realistic approach yet, with Matt Reeves grounding the character more than what Christopher Nolan did 17 years ago with Batman Begins. I like that what Reeves did is that he stretched as much of the PG-13 rating boundaries that he could, but include enough serial killer elements while staying in the confines of Warner Brothers' money-making demographic. Like most people, I was heavily skeptical of Robert Pattinson as Bat, given some of the movies he's been in. But him as Bruce Wayne was just a great fit. It was taking what Michael Keaton had done, where he's uncomfortable as Wayne and more at home in the Batcave tinkering around with his Batmobile, which looks like an old-school Dodge Charger that was given the juice. Kudos if you get the reference. Andy Serkis was another surprising choice as father figure Alfred Pennyworth. He seemed to be on par with the confrontational level of Sir Michael Caine's portrayal, if not slightly more aggressive. Jeffrey Wright surprised me as Jim Gordon. He's not a traditional James Gordon from what we've seen down the years, but he put his own spin on it, making this performance stand out. The way the Riddler was done creeped me out, but then again, that's the point. This is not your Jim Carrey Riddler. This guy has flown so many times over the cuckoo's nest that it'd make a daily creative meeting with Wacky Mackey look sane by comparison. And that's sad when you know that Mackey's done some stuff where, like, okay, Mr. McMahon, we have several questions. Again? Yes, again. In conclusion, a really solid reintroduction to a character that's been played so many times, and this was probably the freshest he's been. Raiden, I know you have your 2 cents about the Batman, so fire away.
Well, yeah, like you said, I feel like this is the type of Batman that is the most grounded out of any incarnation we've seen. And personally, I enjoyed it. Anytime it's being brought up, I will rave on how I love it. Like, I don't know what it is, just the atmosphere. It's just like no disrespect to any incarnation, but I feel like this is the most real Batman has ever been. Well, aside from the Nolan trilogy, but even that got turned to 11, especially to the last two sequels.
Mm.
So performances. I gotta say, like you, I was skeptical of Pattinson. I don't know, not because of Twilight or anything, because I kind of let that shit die years ago. But I don't know, it is just something him. But seeing a couple trailers, especially him beating the absolute shit out of that gang leader,
Mm.
I was like, okay, this might be for me. Then hearing something in the way by Nirvana, I don't know why. It just some reason it spoke to me. And the cool thing is, that was Matt Reeves' intention, having Bruce Wayne be like Kurt Cobain. You know, talented, but talented on the outside, but on the inside, very tortured soul. And
Mm.
basically, that's what Bruce Wayne is at the end of the day, no matter what incarnation. Like he can be, he can have a lot of smiles, but in the end, he's tortured, especially after the death of his parents, which has been shown to shown too much. But luckily, with this movie, you know, he's already in it for 2 years.
Excuse me.
Now, like I said, performances were great. Like MJ said, Jeffrey Wright as Gordon was very different and a different ethnicity. Which, if you know me, I don't like race swapping when it comes to iconic characters. But with this, I can I can I can let that slide. And speaking of that, woo, Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman.
How you doing?
Let me do.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But the cool thing about it is she has a goal, and just like in the comics, I mean, no comics, especially from the Long Halloween, you would know there's a big twist that definitely changes the whole movie. Speaking of changes, I have to say, Colin Farrell as Penguin, I
Yeah.
was shocked. But for some reason, I felt like I don't know. I kind of like this. I actually like this incarnation. No disrespect to Danny DeVito, and I think there's another person who played the Penguin in Gotham, but I already did okay. But with this, it's like he was unrecognizable. But
Mm.
every step of the way, he made me laugh, and especially because he's going to have his own series real soon.
Yeah.
Let's see the next character that I like. Oh, the Riddler. I was very impressed on how much was changed. Like it was a mix of the Zodiac Killer and Jigsaw from the Saw franchise. I don't know what it is, but when it comes to mysteries, I was heavily into. And the cool thing about it was they implemented Batman's detective skills. You don't really see
Mm.
that in other incarnations, but with this, I was very, very enthralled. I mean, we all know he's doing the killings, but we don't know why he's doing it. And
Mm.
that leads me to an performance that I thought was very underrated with Mr. John Turturro as Carmine Falcone.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but his twist was just wow. And I have to say, with the whole movie, you see Bruce Wayne go through so much, like the revelations of the city itself, and but what really hits home is what is the thing with his family, because through the whole movie, he keeps his family in high regard. He says do it for them, but when he hears what happened, he's conflicted. But luckily, you know, with any incarnation of Batman, you'll always see a heart to heart between him and Alfred, and I feel like that hits the part. And through it all with the ending, I like how he realizes that he can't do what he does anymore. He has to be something different. He has to be the hero of the people. And You know what? That is a great, great I wouldn't say cliffhanger, but I would say a continuation.
Hmm.
So I think so. All in all, I enjoyed this movie. This is the first start of the 2022 for me, and I say I won't stop talking about how damn fun it was. So if I had to give a rating, I would say go if you're a big Batman fan who knows the lore and everything. This might be for you. Con, well, if you don't like 3 hour movies, it's not might not be for you. But if you're dedicated to as a fan of Batman, I feel like you won't mind it. Oh no, I enjoy it.
Steven, what are your thoughts on the Batman?
I'd say glad to see that they delved into the more detective aspect of Batman this time around. And like what Raiden said with the Riddler, with the way they characterize the Riddler, that is something that can be very relatable, especially with the times that we're living in at the moment.
Yeah, especially with like the obsessive followers he had on social media. I'm like,
yeah,
dude, do not let the Riddler ever anywhere near Twitter.
That's that dark web shit you do not want to be a part of.
And that very much highlighting something that is that issue right now. Might not be that big of an issue, but the way that they use that in the portrayal of the Riddler, it actually makes it more terrifying.
Yeah.
Sir.
And it's the fact that it's a very, very less whimsical version of the Riddler than what we've seen him played down over years, especially with, let's call it for what it was. When Jim Carrey was playing the Riddler, he was just Jim Carrey dressed as the Riddler, or you could just say as the Riddler was being Jim Carrey. Take that however you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everything else has been said before by Raiden, so
Yeah.
just thought.
All right, and as we know, Madam President didn't see the Batman, did you?
No, because again, it's like this year had been like a big year of like not being able to do anything. I didn't have any money. I moved to a new state, so kind of limited my entertainment options. But I will say this: that when I first saw the trailer for the Batman, I'm like, well, I first heard news about the Batman, hearing that Robert Pattinson was going to play him. I'm sorry, I still had that like nagging twitch in the back of my head, like, oh, good, Edward Cullen's gonna play freaking Batman. But then later on, he won me over with the first trailer when he started wailing on the first Goonies. So I was like, who are you? Just like, bap, bap, bap. And he didn't, I'm Batman. It's like, I'm vengeance. I'm like, all right, you won me over. All right, we'll get that. And through time, I think he has won me over to a degree. It's like, I think we can all agree that like the whole Edward Cullen bullshit is done and over with, so we can go with that.
Yeah, still gonna follow him around though.
Yeah, but he's actually done better for himself, and I'm glad that he has. And from I think I said this in the DMs, where it's like it kind of felt like one of those fan films, and now I'm not talking about quality, but like the way of the feeling that like that with how it like emphasized the fact that like Batman's not just this character of capes and costumes. He's a detective. Gritty, it's raw. He's a detective amongst a bunch of like these sometimes otherworldly people, but then at the same time, he's just dealing with a bunch of crazy criminals who are like reflections of Batman. Because again, let's be honest, if it weren't for the fact that if their circumstances were different, Bruce would be the one in Arkham locked up somewhere. So I gotta say that, but again, the film is good. It's just I wish I could see it more, but unfortunately, again, circumstances didn't let me have that option. So with it, it's not a bad film. I probably might see it later, but now it's just wait. It's just had to get my 2 cents in there.
Okie dokie. And we move on to the next offering. My boy, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. If the first movie did a decent job in introducing the legendary Sega mascot to the big screen, then this follow-up certainly did the franchise a good service by expanding on the lore and paying homage to the legacy of the character with more Easter eggs, from Sonic Adventure 1's pose from the cover art, Robotnik saying, "I can show you a way," as a nod to the meme of, "Do you know the way?" The idea of having all 7 Chaos Emeralds contained within the Master Emerald is not something I would have thought of, and yet it makes complete sense. I mean, it's called the Master Emerald, so why not house all 7 powerful gems within it? And also, it answered a question that I'd had since the first season of Sonic X. What if a human was able to absorb the powers of the Emerald? Because in Sonic lore, it was only ever Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, and Silver that would be able to harness the powers, and yet Robotnik was able to, which was like, okay, this is kind of weird, but... And speaking of, as ever, Jim Carrey steals the show as only he knows how by chewing the scenery on par with Sir Anthony Hopkins, which I didn't think was actually possible. Idris Elba surprised me as Knuckles. I was hoping to get long-time anime voice acting legend Crispin Freeman, as his nonchalant tone, particularly as Zelgadis from Slayers, would have been a perfect fit. And yet, Elba, playing up the naive yet noble and honourable Echidna warrior, added to the humour of the movie, and it's probably put this portrayal of Knuckles onto some people's fave list. The wedding scene dragged out far too long, and it could have been shaved down by 2 to 3 minutes at least. Colleen reprising her role as Tails was a joy, as she's perfected that role now. The first ever live-action appearance of Supersonic took me by surprise, as I was not expecting that to be included, and the nod to Sonic 360. While that's not the most fondly remembered game in the franchise, I did appreciate the comedic value as Sonic tapped his foot against the Robotnik Megazord, because let's face it, that's what it was. And for it to fall over was a nice touch, pun intended. And the revelation that Shadow would appear in Sonic 3, effectively signalling either an adaptation or most of the elements of Sonic Adventure 2 would be brought in, had myself and fans eager with anticipation. Sir Stephen, you're up.
Well, first off, when I saw this film, I saw it with a friend, and we both saw it in the 4DX, which is basically a cinema experience where the chairs actually move and you get like effects like wind and water like sprayed in your face. Initially, during the first few minutes of the film, where you see Robotnik trying to survive on the mushroom planet, and he's just doing that mushroom coffee thing.
Ugh.
And when he did that spit take, the jets of water in kind of like the system in the 4DX actually reacted to that, which literally caught me off guard. And with this, especially with this film, the 4DX really helps heighten the experience, because you feel as if you're literally moving around with Sonic as he's, especially during the labyrinth scene.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he did bang into quite a few corners and walls. It's like, I'm like here and I'm like, what on earth is he doing? You see him come through and see the state of him, like, oh, never mind.
In terms of performances, just the character development that you see Sonic, that you see the dynamic between Sonic and Tails develop. I I just loved that. And I know the wedding scene ended up going on a bit too long, but just when you see Sonic just worried about Tails after coming through the ring portal.
Yeah. Well, because he felt, responsible, that, he said that he would look after him and nothing would happen, and he inadvertently gets injured.
Mm-hmm. Just shows that he's trying to take on more responsibility.
Yeah.
I know for the most part, I know Sonic's supposed to be like a carefree character, but the movies really do show how much he's trying in that universe, how he's trying to actually grow and become more responsible.
Mm.
And Idris Elba as Knuckles, perfect casting in. After I know there was a bit of a debate when the trailer came out, but he nails the role perfectly, in my opinion, anyway.
And I'm glad to see that it's intelligent yet naive Knuckles back, and not dumb as a post Knuckles that they've had him in the games, and especially in Sonic Boom, because that got really tiresome after a while. It's like, Sega, there's a fine line between naivete and just plain up stupid.
Well, I think it mainly plays that he's more or less proud of his warrior heritage in this incarnation.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to put the floor out to anybody else who wants to say anything.
I will say, I remember Lid saying earlier in the year that Elba promised he wouldn't make his voice sexy. You failed, sir! Because I do remember you saying that a little bit earlier this year, Lids, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, you liar. You liar.
Well, in the making of, when they were trying to find the right pitch and cadence to portray the character, he wasn't sure if Knuckles should sound British, American, Jamaican, because he does have Jamaican like colors on his boots, and it was just trying to figure that out. And I think what they ended up with regards to the portrayal, it was a nice happy medium, because you couldn't really tell what accent he had. It was just, he's just Knuckles. But if they bring in more characters, especially because if they're going to be adapting SA2, then Shadow and Rouge are going to be brought in. Well, obviously Shadow's going to be brought in because, duh, we saw it at the end of Sonic 2. For Rouge, I think you do need to have someone sound sultry, but more like where it's a hint of it, rather than, boys go hear it and it'd be like, Mommy, I feel weird. That, that sort of voice.
Mommy, sorry, Mommy.
You know what I mean? You want to make it sound like it's pleasant. It's like, oh, you got a sweet voice, rather than, why, hello, Shadow. It's like, nope, not that. Not that. I've been hearing word on the wire. One of the voices that they're considering for Shadow is Tobey Maguire. And I'm like,
Wouldn't be against that.
I'm like, okay. And people already start with the memes where he just says to Sonic, I'm going to throw some dirt in your eye. And I'm like, well, that didn't take... It's like...
Oh, you're going to cry?
There was one rumor at one stage that we were thinking about getting Robert Pattinson for Shadow as well. And I'm like, that's a little too on the nose. I think for Shadow, try and find a voice that either sounds like Richard Humphrey or sounds similar to Jason Griffith. If that sort of smooth, dark tone, but at the same time the voice actor can distinguish it enough to make it his own. And all I'm going to say is, if you bring in Amy Rose, Please, for the love of the good Lord above, not the Yondair version. No.
Please,
No.
No, 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 no.
Paramount's more smarter than that.
Well, let's put it this way: if they were that smart enough, Sally Acorn would still be in the mainstream. But that's a story unto
Good point.
itself. That's a story unto itself. Raiden, your thoughts?
All right. Well, I think if, like I said, if anyone knows me, I'm not the biggest Sonic the Hedgehog, like, especially in the game. The TV shows, yeah, especially from Saturday AM, Sonic, it's just Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic X, all that, like that. But with this one, I was slightly interested, you know, especially with Idris Elba being voicing Knuckles. I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. And I gotta say, I had the time of my life with this movie. And the cool thing about it, I was in the theater, you know, with their parents, kids, and I know the parents. I would say I know them. I know they play the games as they're young and they want to show it to their kids. I mean, that's something I like.
Mm.
So this movie, I don't know what it is, but I'm kind of leaning towards this Sonic universe. Because for some reason, I don't know why. I just can't hate the Sonic, man. It's like Ben Schwartz is great as the character, and thanks to the Donut Lord's advice, he naturally grows, especially with his new friendship with Tails. I don't know. I appreciate that a lot. You can tell the people involved really want to get this franchise off the ground, but they're playing. I wouldn't say it's plays a safe game, but they're doing things that Sega should do. Jesus Christ. Even though I do hear Sonic Frontier is pretty decent, even though I did feel bad they didn't get squat at the BTAs last week. But that's for another story. I have to say, like what MJC said, the wedding scenes were pretty long, but what I do appreciate is they introduced Gun.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, all right, that's interesting. And yeah, I gotta say, yeah, like I said, wedding scenes were even though I like the sister. Sister was hilarious, but you know.
She wasn't as bratty this time around.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like I think the whole movie itself, it was just fun from start to finish, aside from the wedding stuff. The big battle was good. Introducing Knuckles was really good. I don't know, like you guys said, I really like what they did with Knuckles because I have seen things like Sega made that Echino really stupid, and I'm like, wow, is that how you're gonna treat the rival character? Because you know, in a lot of things, the rival characters are the coolest over the main character. No respect to Sonic, but it's kind of common knowledge at this point.
Oh yeah.
So but I really like that they made Knuckles an equal. The fact we saw Super Sonic early on with this franchise is like, okay, you established something. All right. So, and of course, Jim Carrey is a freaking ham as always, as he always is.
And I hear Win salivating in the background. It's like, and it was delicious.
I don't know. I just like the whole world building, especially how in the end, you know, Knuckles realized that, you know, Robotnik is no good and he's honorable through and through, and even with that, he has some funny lines, especially during the tail end.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, but before I left, I knew there was going to be a mid-credit scene. The fact that Shadow got revealed, that got the whole theater going crazy. I was like, what? They're doing that? Okay. Now you got me hooked for the rest of this franchise. And on a personal note, before I came to watch the theaters, I I learned one of my closest family members passed away. So seeing this
Mm,
movie definitely, helped out,
mm.
especially. So,
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to
and
hear that, man.
funny enough, this
Yeah.
thanks. Yeah. So I think with this was the last movie I saw in theaters theaters, and I have to say it was a great experience. And if I got to give a rating, whether you're a Sonic fan or not, go watch it. Yeah, if you have a kid, go take it, see it, because you're gonna have a hell of a ride. And wait for more in the future. That is good, really good, really good.
One thing that surprised me with the soundtrack was how different it was to the last one. I mean, Wiz Khalifa and company blew it out of the water with Speed Me Up, whereas Kid Cudi's contribution, yeah,
Yeah, Kid Cudi.
Kid Cudi, excuse me, his contribution with the stars above, where it's looking at from Sonic's perspective, this sort of starry-eyed, optimistic innocence. I'm like, okay, it's a different flavor with regards to soundtrack. The soundtrack compared to the last one, where the first one, because we've heard songs of Sonic done before, but never to passion from recording official recording artists like that. And so here with Cudi doing his take, I'm like, okay, I like this. It makes me wonder what they'll do for the third movie. And I don't see Shadow becoming a resident of the Wachowski residence and be like, this is not cool enough for me. I'm going to go dwell in some corner of the city and start prowling on people who prey on the innocents. Shadow, I'm the one being Batman as Blue Justice. I don't need a name. I'm just the Shadow. Nope, that's copyrighted. Looks up. Well, I'll be hanged. But it's already going to be. It was already enough for Tom and Maddie having Sonic up in essentially, his cave up in their attic. But now you've got Tails and Knuckles hanging up there. If it gets to a point where Amy gets brought in, and knowing how in most incarnations Amy has zero filters and boundaries, I remember.
Oh no!
I think Sean actually said in the comments section of one SKL where Sonic would wake up one morning and Amy's just sat at the foot of his bed with this crazed smile, non-blinking stare at him, and when she's like, "Morning, Sonic-oo," and he just yell out, "Dad! She's doing it again!"
6 feet! 6 feet!
But the other thing, and this is something that Random has been very candid about, if they bring Amy in, by all means, make her a strong female protagonist, but don't do it in a way which chastises the male protagonist, because here's the thing, Hollywood audiences are getting sick of that now. That's why most people don't go to watch your movies. And not to get onto too much of a personal tangent, but that's why the new trend of passport bros has come about, because a lot of guys are going elsewhere in the world for relationships. I'm not gonna delve in too deep.
I've heard of that.
I'm not gonna delve in too deep onto that because we try to keep this as non-political to zero as possible. But all I'm saying is I'm aware of the trend, and I understand why it's happening. And we'll just leave it at that.
You know what? Funny enough, I had someone say that Okay, and here's the direct quote. She-Hulk is a great exercise. Sorry, mess it up. She-Hulk is a great exercise on why you should never date American women.
Oh, you're not wrong, but who?
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. You can quote me. Ouch. And not touching that with a 50-foot flagpole.
Yep.
I'm just like, nope, no touchy.
I'm going to go over here.
I'm going to go over here in this nice, safe, peaceful, neutral zone where no harm, no harm. You leave me be, I leave you be. You know, we're good. We're good peoples. And then Oni comes in. Why is it so controversial? And then just stepped in. And you just whisper to him, oh yeah, I'm going to go over in MJ's neutral corner.
Yeah, you do that. Go.
Hello, Oni. Ah, dang it.
Come in here.
Oh, dear. As to
No, he's always in our fridge.
As to whom could play Amy, I'm in favour of one, possibly three candidates. One is you bring in Cindy Robinson because she's made that role her own in not only Sonic Boom but the main what they refer to when they say the main game continuity, they refer to that as the Sega Sonic continuity, in that category description they're not wrong. Mainly because in Boom, I think Amy's voice has been deepened a little to where it's not sounding like Jennifer Doolard from Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 and then Heroes, where it's too squeaky. Not necessarily at the levels that Lisa Ortiz did for Sonic X and then Sonic 360, Unleashed, and Shadow the Hedgehog, where you actually hear Amy say OMG, which is like, Sega, you can be edgy without having the characters curse. Just saying. So either Cindy. One suggestion my buddy Pete said years ago, what about Reese Witherspoon? I'm like,
Against that.
because with Amy, you want somebody that's got a very soft and slightly pitchy tone, but to that point where it's happy and bubbly, but it's not that soft. Oh my gosh, this is so amazing! And Liz would be like, okay, ease off the
Down to
caffeine.
about a 5, sweetheart.
It's like, ease off the caffeine there.
So basically, like, compare if I wouldn't mind Reese Witherspoon doing it. It'll be like her channeling her inner character from Legally Blonde.
Yeah, kind of like that. Or Paramount could surprise us and they cast somebody completely unknown. I just thought of somebody that's just a sidetrack. One moment. One character that they could go for if they want to, if they bring in Rouge, bring in Cree Summer.
Yeah, I would be okay with that.
Especially if she does like a slightly altered version of her She-Hulk voice. Because it's sassy, but it's not that sort of, no little boy, it's like, no son, you can't listen to that voice until you're older. Why, mommy? Because I will not have you thinking thoughts you shouldn't be thinking at your age.
Mom!
I want to listen to that. No, you will not.
Over there, now.
May I have Domino's? Yes, you may. Sweet. He's hearing this letter. He's like, hate you.
Oh, you just better be thankful that he's not here right now.
I am Everett. How are you here? I am everywhere. No, you are not. You're just a figment of my imagination. Oh, you're right. Bye.
Channeling Sonic.exe and get out of here.
Yeah. None of that. Hey, here's one for you, Ernie. HulkHogan.exe. How you? And as a result, Oni Rikaku can never sleep again. Honey, why are you not asleep? Hogan. EXE.
He's watching me.
brothers,
TV?
brothers, I'm going to wrestle again. And he's like,
No, we not. No.
Odie
no,
gets out the popcorn. This is going to be interesting. If they bring in Gamma, because Gamma was Gamma was in SA1. Oh, Ruby, Hulk Hogan, you say?
No.
Any ideas, Ruby?
He already has them. He already has them.
Gather the Dragon Balls and make Hulk Hogan young and healthy again to go into the ring.
Oh no!
I don't think they exist in this universe, Ruby.
Gather the Dragon Balls from another
Let's
universe.
keep it that way.
Gather the Dragon Balls and bring them into this universe so we can make them real.
Would they even work in this universe?
I hope not.
Multiverse theory.
Oh, that's a bitch.
Because SA2 they didn't have Gamma nor Beta because Gamma was specifically for SA1, and I saw a quick look at the premiere of Sonic Prime. The fact that Birdie from SA1 is actually powering Amy Rose, or Rusty Rose, as she is in her roboticized form, is actually powering her as an organic battery. Okay, I like the nod, but that's dark.
Yep.
That is and also, the guy who's voicing Sonic, I like. He's making me like his version, but because the show's being produced in Canada, I think whether it's because of work permits in order to be able to work there and what have you, I don't know the specifics, but I like the voice actors that they got. Although I think Mike Pollock's the only one that's the only American voice actor doing that, and well, at this point, he's the one who's portrayed Robotnik the longest.
Fun fact, actually, Oni actually is a close acquaintance with the voice of Sonic.
Really?
Huh.
Interesting. It's weird because he kind of sounds like Roger Craig Smith, but there's little hints of Jalil's voice in there. Not a lot, just like a little. And, like I say, I like the fact that he's just putting his own spin on it. So, like I say, yeah, because with SA2, it was just Shadow, Rouge, Robotnik, so... And Jim Carrey has actually said he'll only do Sonic 3 if they allow him to be Fat Robotnik. Because otherwise he'll say, no, that's it, I'm out, I'm staying retired. And that'll be interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
That'll be interesting if he does do that. Because Robotnik has not always been the lean, mean bean machine that we've seen him in, in these last two movies. I do like the exaggerated mustache that he's put on, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, and at some stage he's got to pull a Long John quote and just go, snooping as usual, I see. They have to include...
I just really would like him to say, I hate that hedgehog.
Kind of did in the second movie at one stage, I think.
It was more like, later, hater.
Because there is apparently an unused clip from the first movie where it goes, let's have at it, hedgehog. But for whatever reason, in the final version, they didn't put it in. I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. But ideally, Tobey Maguire would be an interesting choice as Shadow, because we know he can do the dark side, especially with what is referred to as emo Peter Parker, and of course, a lot of meme creators already have him as the dark side with Bully Maguire. Thank you so much for that, Aldo Jones. It wouldn't surprise me if the the official casting comes out and it's like, yes, Tobey Maguire is going to be Shadow the Hedgehog. You have Bully Maguire go onto the screen, throw Sonic. I was like, Bully Maguire! And also, you will keep in mind, if they decide to bring in... Shanzer said they could use the promotion meme. Don't do that. Don't do that. If they do bring in 3 more CG characters, that's going to make Fowler and company go to Paramount like, we need to bump up the budget a little because CG is not cheap. And to be fair, with the first movie, they did very well with the money that was put into it. And because Jeff Fowler actually started out as a CG animator, because he actually worked on Shadow the Hedgehog as one of the CG model animators, he knows how to spend the budget accordingly. So, I don't know. I would imagine for Amy, they'll do a very similar rendering to what they've done with Sonic and Shadow, where they look like they've got the classic mono eye design, but there's that little patch of fur at the base of the eyes that makes it look like the two are joined, but when really they're not. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And Lids, as you say, you didn't see this one either, did you?
Unfortunately, no. So that's gonna be my answer for most of these because I got nothing. See it later because again, Oni still wants to get himself a copy of Sonic 2. So.
Okie dokie. Alright, up next for serving. Jurassic World Dominion, also known as Jurassic Park 6. After the events that transpired at the end of Fallen Kingdom, it made you wonder where the story could go from here. Now, I was expecting the world to be dealing with the eco and political issues of having dinosaurs roaming essentially every corner of the earth again, with the animals that escaped the Lockwood estate and those that got sold off to people on the underground market. And while we did have slivers of seeing dinosaurs run amok in the world, the story was more focused on locusts being brought back from the Cretaceous that were eating farmers' crops except for seeds that were produced by biosyn. This is the name of the rival genetics corporation to InGen from Jurassic Park, of which Dodson represented. This time he's played by Campbell Scott, replacing Cameron Thor. Why, you ask? He knows why. And I will leave it at that. It was great to see the return of Sam Neill's Alan Grant and Laura Dern's Ellie Settler, who neither had been seen since 2001's Jurassic Park 3. Jeff Goldblum has not lost a step, as Ian Malcolm being as sassy and witty as ever. The aspect of Macy being conceived by her own late mother, I felt was, how should I say that? Let's say this, not gonna touch that. Yeah, and that Macy's DNA, along with Beta's, the hatching of Blue the Velociraptor, who reproduced asexually, and now I'm being reminded of Godzilla 98 again, would be the keys to recoding the locust DNA to stop causing an ecological disaster. What? Now, this is not the worst Jurassic Park ever made. That dishonor still belongs to Jurassic Park 3. You know what you did.
Fun.
But I think had they come up with a more engaging story and focus on a world where humans and dinosaurs are having to coexist, would have been a much more thrilling and interesting story, as this is what the first 2 movies had been warning since 1993. The prologue was great in seeing the origin of the original T-Rex, and that's the other thing I felt was another detriment. Rexy was played down heavily right until the final battle with the Giganotosaurus and the Therizinosaurus helping her. Now, this is the end of the quote Jurassic era, and there will be more movies made, but Universal have said they're going to take a 5 to 10 year break to make people miss the franchise. Universal, couple of things. Number 1, no Colin Trevorrow as the director for the next movie. Study the source material thoroughly this time. The only two books of Jurassic Park and actually focus on the dinosaurs. Also, no political agendas. You know, I speak for myself and probably a few other people. We're sick of that now in Hollywood. It's like, if you have a movie where politics are a theme, do it in a way where it's not talking down to nor insulting your key demographic. I mean, for people like me and Steve, we want to go there because we want to see dinosaurs running amok. We don't want to have conversations about social-political events. You know, there's a reason why C-SPAN exists, and even then I won't watch it. Just, it's as Lid said months ago, we go to the movies to switch our brains off, to switch off reality and just escape and have fun. You know, this is why so many people flock to Top Gun Maverick this year. We want to be entertained. We want to come out of reality. We want to have fun. And you wonder why a lot of your movies now that have political agendas attached to them, you know, your box office receipts don't reflect your intentions. You know, yes, we want to see movies where there are strong leading female protagonists, but not to the point where they're insulting the male demographic as well. And Liz has gone on record saying, you know, she wants strong female leads, but not to the point where it's both pandering and insulting to so many demographics. Because we're sick of that. I mean, Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah.
That's a different kettle. That's a different kettle of fish.
I rest my case. So let's just say, I don't know, the next Jurassic movie is, I don't know, Jurassic Aftermath, or let's just say for the sake of discussion, they decide it's like, you know what, we're going to go back to Jurassic Park. You know, enough of this world stuff. Let's go back to Jurassic Park, because I don't refer to it as the Jurassic World franchise because they started with Jurassic Park, and Jurassic Park just flows off the tongue ever so nicely. Just focus on, you know, there's a situation where the dinosaur population has gone maybe a little too big to deal with. I mean, we know we've got the 3 tyrannosaurs in the Biosyn Valley in Switzerland, and if it's going to go 5 to 10 years in the future, Steve, I think we can both sadly agree there's a very strong chance Rexy won't be around, because by this point, Rexy's been around for, let me see, she was supposed to have been 5 years young by the time we got to the first Jurassic Park. So yeah, at this stage, Rexy's going to be 35 next year, and if they're leaving it 5 to 10 years, I've not heard of anything in the fossil record where a tyrannosaur lives into their late 30s or early 40s, because it's different with some animals in the animal kingdom. I mean, the average lifespan of a lion is 25 to 30 years. Elephants can go on for a while, although
that's because of their size.
And I think in some fossil records, some brachiosaurs have been known to live for 120 years. I don't know how nor why, but at the same time, I'm not a paleontologist, so, you know, I have to take their word for it because they're the scientists at the end of the day. So, I don't know. I mean, we know they're never likely to go back to the theme park scenario because they've tried that twice. Technically 2.5 times if you count what they were trying to do with the Lost World by bringing it to San Diego, and it's like, yeah, now you understand why your uncle built the resort on an island, you know, off the coast of Costa Rica. But Ludlow was, as Lid said, oh, this asshole. Yeah. You know, there's a reason why Hammond built it, you know, on a remote island, so that if the dinosaurs got out of their enclosures, okay, it's bad news for the park, but at least they could stay on the island. And this is just me, just so speaking out here. if you're bringing back any extinct form of life, it's one thing if you have land-based animals recreated genetically, but do you really think it's a good idea to have aquatic and aerial prehistoric life recreated when you know they could wreak havoc with the ocean's ecosystem and the sky's ecosystem? Because we saw what that pterodactyl did to the flock of doves in that wedding scene from the end of Battle at Big Rock. And doves are usually meant to be, a wonderful and loving sign at a wedding. You see them come, I was like, I kind of look at the couples like, maybe you shouldn't have gotten married today. Just saying.
And then that Stegosaurus on the mountaintop road.
Yeah. And the fact that, like I say, Blue is able to reproduce by herself is just like, okay, that's not worrying. I don't know. Like I say, it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward, but I don't know. They gotta do something. Oh no. Oh, Sean's just gone. And we see in the Richard Attenborough voice, and we see the Tyrannosaurus going off against a Karen. Don't give me ideas. I'll get popcorn out for that.
That will be where people are actually cheering for the dinosaur.
And Ruby's just made a good point. That was the whole deal with the original dinosaurs, right? They changed their genders so they couldn't reproduce because they used specific species of frogs' DNA to finish the sequence. Said species could change its gender if there were too many of one gender to keep the population going, which explains the Velociraptor eggs that Alan Grant came across midway through the first movie, which doesn't.
Sorry.
There's a bit of a gaping plot hole. So, where are the other Velociraptors that hatched out in between Jurassic Park and Jurassic World? I mean, if the fans could write, to be able to fill in the plot holes, okay, some fans would take maybe too many liberties with some things, but, to be able to, like, hang on, you need to fix this plot hole, fix that, then Jurassic World would have looked so different. Because we would have had more raptors, and especially on Isla Sorna, if Velociraptors are supposedly able to, say, lay 12 eggs in one clutch, then Isla Sorna should be overpopulated with the critters, because it's estimated from Jurassic Park 3 to Fallen Kingdom there should have been at least 300 of them on the island, which that would have laid waste to most of the other social groups on the island, but that's a story unto itself. Ruby says this was something they just kind of glossed over in the movie. Crichton went out of his way to explain it, whereas the movie just goes, oh, they're laying eggs now. Yeah. Because I've drawn out, my thoughts on it a little too long, and I've kind of, unintentionally ignored Steve. Your thoughts on Dominion? Was it better than Fallen Kingdom, or are you of the opinion like this got worse?
I'd say it's pretty much on the level of Fallen Kingdom, but the reasons why are completely, drastically different.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I agree with your point. It should have focused more on the dinosaurs than on the whole locust famine plot.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many other ideas you could potentially go for. I mean, like, possibly ideas that they could explore in the sequels, or wherever they go. I mean, like with dinosaurs being introduced, that could introduce the whole aspect of damaging ecosystems and whatnot. I mean, they seem to suggest that it seems to have gone sort of okay with the ending, like you see the mosasaur with humpback whales and Ceratops with elephant.
I did feel a little too idealistically wrapped up at the end.
Yeah. But it's more of a case that would just affect the entire world's ecosystem, and there's so many things you could do with that. Why focus it back onto humans always being the bad guys?
Well,
Because Hollywood got a Hollywood.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And also because some people are just jerks.
Yeah.
Bingo.
And the Giganotosaurus was pretty much hyped up, pretty much at the last minute.
Yeah.
Why do they always feel a need to go with a bigger, badder dinosaur than the T-Rex? When you think of badass dinosaurs, immediately what you think of is the T-Rex.
Yeah.
And part of me wonders if they'll ever bring the Spino back, considering how much of a backlash that animal ended up getting for JP3.
Well, apparently there was supposed to be a, quote, rematch between the Spinosaur and the T-Rex on Isla Nublar, but I'm like, well, it's not a rematch per se, because the T-Rex that got killed in Jurassic Park 3 wasn't Rexy. I mean, it would have been a Spinosaur against a T-Rex, but it wouldn't have been that specific Rex.
And it just felt like they should have focused more on Biosyn Valley.
Hmm.
Because it's introduced like halfway through the film, and it feels as though they could have had some claim to an idea with that particular area.
Hmm.
But yet again, they had to have more action scenes with the Atrociraptors in Milan.
Yeah.
It felt at times it just felt all over the place. It should have just been if they kind of condensed the plot further, it would have been a much better movie.
Yeah. It does make you... That's actually a good point. The whole thing... And this is something that Raiden brought up when we did the reaction to the Fallen Kingdom trailer about maybe 2-3 years ago. It's like, why is it each movie they always gotta go with a super dinosaur? I mean, they started with Jurassic Park 3, then going into Jurassic World with the I-Rex, and then the Indoraptor in Fallen Kingdom. And I suppose Giganotosaurus, you could argue, is a super dinosaur as well. So what are we going to get next? Ultra Instinctosaurus Rex, 3? Although the idea...
Don't give them my...
Who knows at this point?
Yeah. Because, we don't need to see, say, like a T-Rex type dinosaur suddenly sporting hair on the top of its head and then going all blonde or going all Ultra Instinct like Goku. It's just like, oh, Kira Toriyama's gonna sue somebody. But it's like, haven't they tried suing the Sonic franchise enough for plagiarizing DBZ, what with the Chaos Emeralds as an allegory for the Dragon Balls and Super Sonic for Super Saiyans? And Sega said they were going to phase Super Sonic out. You lie. and obviously, presumably, Raiden and Lids didn't see Dominion either.
Did not.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, move on to the last one. Pardon me. That's the monster talking there. And I've...
Monster Energy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I've saved the best for last. Top Gun Maverick, also known as Top Gun 2.
Yeah.
It has been 36 years since we last took to the skies with Maverick, and it's nice to see in that time that Tom Cruise has not missed a step as the reckless and highly skilled Pete Maverick Mitchell. We can see that he's a little more cautious, but he still has that rebellious side to him, the way he advocates to continue with the Mach 10 testing of Darkstar, in spite of the Admiral telling him to call it off. But his thinking was, if I don't do this, you guys are out of a job. You can tell the events of what took place with Goose in the original movie still don't sit right with him, and that he feels responsible for possibly letting the same happen to Goose's son, Rooster, played by Miles Teller, who some of you might remember better as Mr. Fantastic. It was great to see Val Kilmer reprise his role as Iceman, and what you get with his portrayal is a very honest performance with a man who has been humbled by life with cancer, and considering that Kilmer has fought cancer and been free of it for 6 years. By the way, Val, more power to you, sir. Keep fighting. The sight of seeing the F-14 in the third act, I'm sure, brought a lot of a tear to a lot of eyes that have either seen the original movie or seen that bird in action. The execution of its takeoff was done to perfection. Here's Maverick, someone despite not having flown an F-14 in years, knows the strengths and limits of it. He knew there was a strong chance of a good takeoff on the short taxiway, and he went for it. I can't ever recall being more on the edge of my seat as that jet edged closer to the building it was looking to fly over. It's like if you come across a car you used to drive and you know it's got one last ride left in the tank, and you're like, come on baby, do this for me one more time. And just to answer the question if the F-14 could have outrun the 5th Gen fighters, it could have. The 5th Gen fighters could only manage Mach 10, whereas the F-14 could do Mach 2.5. It might have faltered against the missiles and guns, but on speed alone, it would have outran them. Also, the last dogfight was just amazing. To hear, give me tone, and I've got tone, was music to my ears as someone who appreciates the original. And to top it off, the movie began with Highway to the Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins. I remember sitting in the theater, and as soon as I heard that belt out the speakers, I'm like, oh yeah, this is Top Gun. My pick for movie of the year, and it did very well in taking 1.4 billion at the box office, and as of last Friday, it was re-released to theaters again. And my thinking is, they're doing it not only because they know Christmas is a time where more people have time off and go to the theaters, but I think they're also a little bit concerned with Avatar 2. Because I think Avatar, The Way of the Water, will draw in money, but it's been 13 years since we last saw Avatar. I don't know if people are going to care as deeply about it this time around, because, yeah, from the trailer, the visual effects still look mind-blowing as ever, but I'm not 100% sure it'll take in as much money. And considering James Cameron said in an interview something very controversial that could make the male demographic change their minds about seeing it, I shall type in the DM.
No, I'm gonna say one thing because there's something that he said that kind of pissed me off. Where he said something where it's like, if you're worried about the link, just go to the and need to go to the restroom, go to the bathroom. You'll probably go back to see the movie again if you missed something. I'm like, you condescending prick. Think that people have the money and time to go back to see another fucking movie? Who's you? Why don't you go fuck yourself and fall off the horse you rode in on, you prick?
And, like I say, I'm not going to say this aloud, but this is what he said in an interview.
What the fuck?
I saw that, heard that, and I'm like, Wow, dude, what a way to shoot yourself in the foot.
Oh, here we go.
Uh, I will,
Now,
I will, whisper this to Sean Retro, because like I say, I'm not going to make this public because Twitch might get a little bit funny if I say it verbally. So Sean, I'm DMing it to you now. Just don't go repeating it aloud, and I'll do the same. Do the same with Ruby.
it's just, it feels like it's a general trend for, especially big-time Hollywood directors. They just digging themselves up so much that the movie ends up failing due to what they've said.
So, I mean, I was looking to go, like I say, looking to go and see Avatar 2, and then I hear that from Cameron. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? It's like, you don't shoot yourself in the foot before going to see it. Now, there is a possibility Disney might have been, I don't want to say holding a gun to his head because that could get taken the wrong way, but he might have been pressured into saying that. But you'd think, you'd think with someone like Cameron, who's got a lot of stroke and presence in Hollywood, I don't know. It just strikes me as odd that someone that's got that much influence, power, and financial stroke, why would he go and say something like this? And
Because Disney.
Ruby's mentioned something about the Supersaurus. We're going to get an Ultra Supremosaurus with a side of cheese.
You can't see it, but I'm rolling my eyes at that.
Ooh. I'm just repeating. I'm repeating in the chat what Ruby's just told me.
I know. Oh, wait.
And all I'm going to say is that's bullshit. Yeah. So yeah, I think strong chance Maverick will probably take in a healthy box office portion for the Christmas takings. As to how Avatar will do, and for some reason, for
Sorry,
commercials.
it's a website I'm looking at right now. It's playing fucking ads, and it's like
Okay.
I'm always trying to.
Yeah. So, like I say, if he had said that in an interview after the movie had come out and done its box office takings, it's like, well, you've already taken the money. What do you care? But to say that before your movie comes out is like, James, no, just no.
So it's like he can just shut up.
Yeah. I don't know. Steve, as somebody who was hyping Maverick up all summer long, because obviously, you work within a cinematic theater, your thoughts?
Well, it's being, as you say, being a guy in the cinema and being one with only about 5 screens, the numbers for Maverick did not lie. It was one of the biggest hits of the year, and at the staff showing, it definitely showed. It just does what it's supposed to. Good storytelling.
Yeah.
One of the things I loved was we really get into Maverick's head, considering how he still is unable to get over the loss of Groot.
Well, I think when you look back at the events of the original Top Gun and what happened, because that was essentially his best friend, his brother, his confidant, he felt responsible for him. And of course, whenever Maverick ever decided to have a clever idea and get punished for it, Goose's reprimand would be followed short behind. Even though he's like, Maverick, why do you keep doing this? It's like we're gonna go buzz the tower, Maverick. No, it's like, nope, we're buzzing the tower. It's just like, I didn't need that today. I like that they did buzz the tower, but even like Cyclone's like, all right, he's earned this one. Well, man.
I don't think there's any more I can say that hasn't already been said on previous SKO.
All right. I will say, and this was, like I said, this was what was pointed out to me in the comment section, because there's multiple users that have posted the F-14 taking off. When you listen to certain portions of the score, it's actually got the same notes as Highway to the Danger Zone, but it's just done in orchestral form. And I had to go back and listen to it. I'm like, well, shit. It's like, that took me by surprise. It does make me wonder, what would they have done with the F-14, after getting back home? Because, I mean, is it like one of those things where it's like the spoils of war, where they'd have the plane decommissioned or scrapped? Because, well, they did it, for all intents and purposes, steal it from, an opposing nation, which, that's a clever thing that they did in the movie. They never addressed who the enemy was. They just said they didn't want to start anything.
Well, time can change things, and in retrospective, it can be considered a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? A bit controversial.
Yeah.
So, better they kept it anonymous. So.
And I was gonna say, yeah, because I don't think they ever really addressed who the enemy was in the first movie either. It's just like, it's an enemy. And I think what was clever about the sequel was, you didn't necessarily need to have seen the original movie, because you could come in fresh and you just pick it up. But if you had seen the original movie, it would help, because you get the context with some scenes, and it was a lot of nostalgia, fan service done. But considering it's, like I say, it's been 36 years since the original, you couldn't not have that. And Jennifer Connelly, I don't know what you're taking, but how you doing? Because I think she's either very late 40s or early 50s, and like Tom Cruise, that woman does not age. I mean, she doesn't look that much different from... Can't believe it's going to be 20 years since Hulk next year. The less we say about that movie, the better. Especially if Nostalgia Critics reviews anything to go by, which unfortunately traumatized poor Raiden.
Let's not and say we did.
The Hulk!
No.
Oh dear. And so the things that we've got to look forward to next year, we know we're getting Ghostbusters 4 for about this time next year, but where it's going to be back in New York. More than likely, I think we'll probably get at least Dan and Ernie come back to reprise their roles, but they'll probably play out like they're doing in Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed on most gaming consoles at the moment, where Ray's like the sort of spiritual Wikipedia, and Winston's, kind of like the Nick Fury Bruce Wayne. He's just the financer and the leader to go to. And we'll probably get Phoebe and company taking over there's some word on the wire that it's going to be Vigo the Carpathian again. I'd like to see an original antagonist, if I'm being completely honest, because the idea with what they did with, with Afterlife, where they kind of did away with Gozer once and for all with her being trapped, it's like, yeah, that's fine. But for the next one, they need to go with something original. And of course, we've got Transformers Rise of the Beasts next year, which looks very intriguing.
Yes.
But the one that has me both intrigued but also asking several questions will be for next February, Cocaine Bear.
Yes! Yes! God, yes! Oh my God! Yes.
I want to see the movie.
There is one, sorry to interject, but if we're talking about movies for next year, one which I know Raiden will definitely be wanting to see, Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
I will say, because whenever, like some of these new bizarre movie trailer announcements pop up, I eagerly await to see how Double Toasted reacted. Corey went in on that trailer. He's like, I'm in. It's like, sign me up. It's like,
Oh, speaking of Double Toasted, Megan.
Oh boy. I've heard.
Oh God!
I've heard things
I know
about
what you're
that.
talking about.
That thing looks creepy.
Oh, the dancing! Why? Why you do this?
Oh man.
Is
Who
it?
proved that? And whatever drugs you're taking, give me some.
I heard it was one of the writers that did *Malignant*.
Oh my God! If that's the case, holy shit!
Yeah, mind you, speaking of dark stuff, apparently according to an account from Christina Ricci, she got creeped out by Jenny Ortega's take on Wednesday.
Ass.
Oh, speaking of that. Speaking of that, I finished it last weekend. I gotta say, it's a damn good adaptation of Addams Family, and it was no surprise that Tim Burton's behind it. I mean,
Well,
trusted Ortega with his performance, and I gotta say, she's on her way, man. I gotta give her all the flowers in the world. 2022 was her year, from starting in Scream, being in X, now this. Oh yeah, the sky's the limit for her. And the fact that she, he took on this iconic character. It's yeah, dude.
when I saw Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia Addams, I'm like, that is stunt casting. She looks too at home in that role. And she's another woman that does not age.
No, she does not.
I swear they keep finding that fountain of youth.
Even the actress that plays younger Morticia looks like her. It's crazy.
I mean, Michael Douglas, lucky son of a bitch.
Also, I gotta say, Enid is adorable.
Oh yeah, she's cute.
I've seen some people doing cosplays of Wednesday on Twitter, and I'm like, guys, I wouldn't have had her cosplayed like that. That's like, no, because some of the weird stuff that comes into my Twitter feed, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna quickly, go away from that. Like, no.
Incognito mode. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Also, that dance. That was pretty cool.
Yes.
I got little reminders of Pulp Fiction, just hints of it.
Little bit. Yes. I mean, from what I've heard, Jenna Ortega said she came up with that dance on her own, and she had a lot of inspiration from the original Wednesday, Lisa Loring, from the original Addams Family show.
Wow. That's going back
yeah.
a few years. Because the Addams Family has always been primarily comedic at heart. I mean, yeah, there are the spooky elements
Yeah.
there, but it's more about getting a little bit of light-hearted fun out of it, whereas from what I'm hearing about Wednesday, it's more dramatic
Yeah,
and
it's
dark. But then again, Tim
yeah,
Burton,
there
so, you
yeah,
know.
there's definitely dark stuff in there, but like I said, it's Tim Burton, but there's some still a little bit of lightheartedness a little bit. Even with the family when they reappeared in another episode, even though there was like a big mystery going on with Gomez. Which I gotta say,
Yeah.
Guzman killed it as Gomez. That's I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, I listen. I love John Aston, and I definitely love Raul Julia as Gomez. But I gotta say, Luis Guzman did a great spin.
And also, it was just weird seeing Christopher Lloyd as Uncle Fester in the first few movies. I'm like, dude, you're enjoying this a tiny bit too much.
I will say I liked him in the second movie over the first movie because I think with second movie it's very Uncle Fester like.
Hmm.
Also, you say Christopher Lloyd. I still can't believe Rip Taylor, may he rest in peace, voiced Uncle Fester in the '90s show.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a massive ham in that one.
Oh, yeah. The only time I've seen Rip Taylor in a movie was in Wayne's World 2. That's going back a few years.
Also, speaking of Wednesday, it was cool to see Debbie Derryberry, who if y'all didn't know, was voiced Wednesday in the '90s show.
Hmm. I still.
And give praise to Jenna Ortega.
I saw in one of the trailers for the show, she dumped a couple of piranhas into the swimming pool. I'm like, okay, girl. Yeah, I appreciate it's a dark show, but that's taking it too far.
I love the line where she says, "Nobody picks on my brother but me."
Yeah, like the only person to pick on my brother is me. I'm like, yeah, that's Wednesday.
Yeah.
But then again, you could make the argument that's how quite a few siblings are. It's just like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. It's like, you don't get to do that. I do.
Yeah. Also, if you're a fan of Adam Family over the years, you can tell like Wednesday and Pugsley do have a loving relationship, but the way they do it, it's very different from theirs. But they still love each other.
Yeah. Be interesting to see if they ever. When I say do another Addams Family movie, I know they're doing the animated ones, but if they ever decide to go with a fully fledged movie again, they'd have to, go somewhat fresh, like what they're doing at the moment with Wednesday. And the fact that they had Christina Ricci brought in to be part of the show is like, how can you not? Because she, her role is just as iconic as the rest, and it's probably what got her foot in the door as far as Hollywood's concerned. And she's another one, does not age. I mean, she does, but she doesn't, if you get my meaning.
What are we talking about? Sorry, I had something to deal with.
I'm just saying, how could you not have Christina Ricci involved in this, considering her performance is iconic, and I don't know what it is about her either, but she doesn't age.
Oh, speaking of Christina Ricci, if you check out the show, her role in there, especially during the tail end of the series, you will not expect. I'm like, wow, oh shit. Okay, this is what we doing. I'm down.
It's weird if you ever see her in roles where she's not in like a moody role or something that's dark and what have you. It's almost like Eminem putting out a cheery song. You think, wait, is Eminem having a good day? He's actually doing something that's upbeat, because you'd have something like
Off topic. When it comes to Eminem, Even when he does a cheery song, he will still go to places.
It's like when they did um We're the Ones Who Made You, or It'd Be So Empty Without Me. There's some stuff in there, it's like, okay, this is cheering. There's other stuff's like, whoa, dude, you didn't need to go there with that.
Yeah.
The one where I felt like, and I'm not as huge a fan of Eminem these days, but I looked at it with one song he did with I Guess It's Time for You to Hate Me Again, where he went into his Christopher Reeve monologue mode, like, okay, no, I'm not defending you for that. It's like, no, that's crossing a line. Because, it's like, with some actors and musicians I've liked and appreciated over the years, some stuff I will look away, and there's other times like, when, whenever George Michael did one or two videos where I'm like, okay, dude, I'm a fan, but you don't have, I don't have your back for this one. Sorry, no, I'm not letting that one slide. I mean, even some of the stuff Hasselhoff's done, that's got him into the press for all the wrong reasons. I'm like, okay, dude, I love you, I appreciate you, but on that one, no. Just no. And he's thankfully one of those performers where I can separate the artist from the character, because the way I look at him and Michael Knight, they're the same, but they're not. Because Michael would do some things where it would raise an eyebrow, but compared to what some people do today in pop culture, Michael Knight of the 1980s is more than tame. It's probably wholesome by comparison. I'd hate to think what, a 21st century of Michael Knight would be like today. Because there's some stuff where some celebs take things a bit too far. I'm not going to go into say exactly what, because I've seen from one YouTuber I watch called Alex Wilson, great guy by the way, some stuff that some comedians and celebs do when they're on stage. I'm like, not touching that, and I'll leave it at that. Of course, we're not seeing Sonic 3 until 2024, which will be just before Christmas, and that's an ideal time, because I think everyone will be flocking to the theaters for that one, understandably. Whether it will have a Christmas theme to it, I don't know. But it wouldn't be the first time that we've had Sonic and Christmas themed aspects, because we've seen it in Fleetway, we've seen it in Archie. The only time we've ever seen it in TV animated form was, it's kind of where Adventures of and Sat AM kind of crossed over, where it's keeping the story of Saturday Morning, but it's using the humor tone of Adventures of, where you've still got Robotropolis, but Robotnik's now drawn and voiced by Long John Baldry as before. Sally is in there, but she has her pink palette color from the pilot episode, and she doesn't even say a single line. You hear her sigh at the end, but other than that, it's just the humor and antics of Adventures of, with Scratch and Grounder being involved as well. And I'm like, okay, they're goofy antics in what's supposed to be a continuation of Saturday Morning. I don't see quite how that correlates. It'd be like 1960s Riddler being present in the Batman. That looks so out of place. But then again, imagine if Jim Carrey's Riddler was, the Riddler being used in the Batman. That'd be, Robert Pattinson's Bat to be like, what on earth am I dealing with? And of course, Jim Carrey would be chewing the scene up, as he often does. I think if you were to take any of the previous villains TV or on the big screen that could fit quite nicely into some of the modern adaptations. Jack Nicholson's Joker could quite fit in quite nicely, because even to this day, that performance is both amusing yet very disturbing. Ledger's Joker takes it up a notch, but the only issue I've ever had with that performance is that never told enough jokes, was never whimsical enough. That's the only critique I mark him down for. Other than that, good performance. But no, it'd be interesting, and of course, apparently next year, no more delays, no more changes. We are finally getting the Flash movie.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
they've delayed it so many times, and I'm not going to get into the stuff about Ezra Miller, because this is neither the place nor the time to do it. But it's supposed to be rewriting the DCE cinematic universe as we know it, because we know there are some changes going on at Detective Comic Films and what have you. We know we're getting Michael Keaton back as Bat, but we know we're not getting a solo outing with him now, which is a shame, but it is what it is. Do I think
Thinking of that, I'm very interested to see what James Gunn is doing with the franchise, with everything. It's like this it's like this combo that me and Liz have. Like, you can have nostalgia, but don't overuse it. Especially now that just make sure you take time in creating, just planning out instead of just putting it out there. Because I think that was the downfall of the DCEU the first time. You know what I mean? So it's like, really just look into things, see what works, see what doesn't, and if anything, if anything turns out well, you probably get a interesting cinematic universe, which we all wanted for years. But it's like, it's just been so discombobulated with all this fluff.
Well, a lot of people are kind of butthurt, saying that, like, there's a petition going around saying, "Fire James Gunn, bring back Zack Snyder." I'm like, wait, what?
Oh, no.
Stop doing that! Can we stop?
You forget, this is the internet. They complain about everything.
Oh, you're not wrong.
I think at the moment, let's just wait and see what James Gunn does. Let's just wait and see what he does. He's only just been brought on.
Sorry to cut this short, but I'm going to have to head off now.
Yeah.
All good.
And that's the point where we're going to end it anyhow. So, thank you to my co-hosts for another end-of-year panel. It's a little shorter this year than usual, but that's because of IRL commitments for the rest of today. My hands are tied. That's all I'm of liberty to say on that. So, thank you for everyone to tuning in. Thank you to the First Lady of Awesome, Madam President Awesome Lydia. Vote for her 2024. She will make YouTube right again.
And check out my Twitch channel. I will be probably streaming on Tuesday, but I cannot hold you that because Oni still has his holiday job. But other than that, I will see you guys on twitch.tv/Kitsune Rukaku. We will be hopefully continuing with more Pokemon. So I'll see you there.
We thank you to Sir Stephen for his punliness and sometimes saving Oni's sanity, if that's even possible.
It just depends on what game he's playing.
I want to play GTA. I want to play GTA Vice City again. Here's 6,000 bits. Okay,
No.
I'll play something else.
Oh, no, not again.
You're not doing that again.
I will play Sonic 06 for a game-a-thon.
No!
Dear Christ, no.
Oh, he's made it very clear that's not happening.
Oni, will you do it for a Scooby snack? No. And once again, thank you to the energetic and charismatic cybernetic Cyber Raiden.
all good in the hood. It's always fun to do this. Now, no matter what, no matter how big we get, we gonna still be on our fun loving selves.
Oh yeah. Sean Retro says, and stay safe from Robot Santa.
Oh, yeah.
Robot
Oh,
Santa,
right.
no.
Oh Christ!
Yeah.
When we get to that future.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you on Tuesday and Wednesday for Dark Knight Tuesday and Jurassic Wednesday. Next week might be moving it IRL commitments. That's all I'm of liberty to say, because there's certain things you don't go saying. And
Agreed.
I'll leave it at that. We're back with SKL next week for the Season 11 finale. Usual start time of 6 p.m. UK, 1 p.m. Eastern, and 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until next time, folks, I have been the Knight, saying good night from the Night, and who shall we go raid? I think we'll go raid the Little Lemon Bun again, because Melina's online, but
Lemon.
No, I said Melina is also online, but
Oh.
I think she tends to do don't quote me, I think she tends to do these sort of swimming pool videos, and like, yeah, that's not appropriate.
Right. I've heard there's
No.
another one, Twitch.
Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna go with the Little Lemon Bun, because, to quote Win, she's a cinnamon roll. She's so sweet.
Oh.
And we like sweet people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you go over to the Little Lemon Bun, folks, give her a follow, and purely, just as a suggestion, do subscribe to her, because she's worked for every single one of her followers and subscriptions, and like I say, she's a sweet girl. But until next time, folks, good night from the Night, and have a good Christmas.
Take care now.
Be nice to people.
Yes, especially be nice to people at this time of the year. That kind of goes without saying.
Don't eat yellow snow.
Oh no! And don't ever drink spicy Mountain Dew.
No, absolutely not.
I can attest to this. Yes,
You can't.
we know. Eat snacky s'mores.
A company were like, I want to create a fantastic game, I want it to be like everything the fans have wanted. They still do have to think about it from like a monetary standpoint, right? MJ9, thank